You give directions once, but within minutes they're gone. For kids with ADHD, holding multiple steps in their mind is a huge challenge. For example, if you say go upstairs, grab your shoes, and put your backpack by the door, only one step might stick. That's why they return confused or without finishing the task. It's not disobedience, it's executive function at play. The ADHD brain struggles with working memory, which is like the brain's sticky note system. Most people can hold a short list in their head long enough to complete it, but for a child with ADHD, that list feels slippery, like it's written on water. As soon as they try to remember one part, the rest of the instructions disappear. This leads to frustration for parents, who may interpret the behavior as ignoring or being lazy, when in reality, the child's brain is simply wired differently. Imagine what this feels like for the child. They want to do well, they want to meet expectations, but no matter how hard they try, the sequence of tasks unravels. They may start with grabbing the shoes, but by the time they get them, the other steps have vanished. When they return, a parent might say, "Where's your backpack? I told you to bring it." The child looks blank, embarrassed, or defensive because they truly don't recall that part. This can quickly create a cycle of misunderstandings, arguments, and hurt feelings. The key is understanding that the brain's executive function acts like an air traffic controller. It organizes incoming information, prioritizes what to focus on, and sequences the steps. For kids with ADHD, that air traffic controller is understaffed, overworked, and easily distracted. Planes keep circling and sometimes crash into each other. This is why even simple tasks feel overwhelming. So what can be done? The first step is breaking down instructions into single, clear steps. Instead of stacking 3 directions at once, pause and give one. For example, say, go upstairs and grab your shoes. When the child returns, acknowledge the success, then add the next direction. Now put your backpack by the door. This may take longer, but it increases the chance that every step gets completed successfully, and that builds confidence. Another helpful strategy is externalizing memory. Instead of relying on the child to hold the information internally, move it outside of their brain. Write down steps on a whiteboard, sticky note, or checklist. Use visual cues like laying shoes by the stairs or placing the backpack hook by the door. Many children with ADHD respond well to visual schedules with pictures rather than words. The less abstract the instructions, the more tangible they become. Technology can also help. Setting reminders on a tablet or watch that vibrates with simple prompts like shoes or backpack creates an external structure. But keep in mind, too many notifications can become overwhelming, so it's best to keep them simple and consistent. Another approach is to turn multi-step instructions into a sequence of habits through routine. For instance, every morning, the shoes always go by the door, and the backpack always goes on the same hook. When the environment is consistent, the child doesn't need to remember the instructions because the routine itself carries them through the process. Parents may also need to adjust expectations around time. A task that seems like it should take 1 minute might take 5 for a child with ADHD, not because they are being slow, but because the executive function system is working overtime. Giving more time, reducing pressure, and adding gentle encouragement can reduce stress for everyone. Praise plays an important role too. Instead of only pointing out what's missing, notice what was done right. If they remembered the shoes but forgot the backpack, say, "Great job remembering the shoes. Now let's grab the backpack." Positive reinforcement builds motivation and prevents the child from feeling defeated. Another point to remember is that energy levels and focus can change throughout the day. A child might handle one-step instructions better in the morning when their brain is fresh, but by evening, when fatigue sets in, even the simplest direction can feel impossible. Being flexible and noticing patterns can help parents choose the best times for more complex tasks. Teachers also face these challenges in classrooms. When they give long sets of instructions, children with ADHD may appear lost or off task. But breaking the lesson into chunks, using written guides, and repeating directions aloud can make a huge difference. Offering check-ins along the way helps too. For example, instead of telling a student to finish all the questions on a worksheet, break it down into smaller goals, like complete the first 3, then check back. This provides clarity and prevents overwhelm. It's also important to understand the emotional layer. Constantly being told you forgot something can erode a child's self-esteem. They may start to believe they are careless or incapable, which is far from the truth. By shifting the focus from blame to support, adults can help reframe the experience. Saying, "Let's figure out a system that works for you," is far more empowering than saying, "Why can't you ever remember?" Families can create rituals that support memory and reduce stress. For example, a launch pad by the door with all the essentials packed the night before, a morning checklist on the fridge, or a backpack routine after school. These systems reduce reliance on working memory and make the environment ADHD-friendly. Siblings can sometimes become frustrated too if they see that the child with ADHD receives more reminders or assistance. Parents can explain that everyone has different needs and that fairness doesn't always mean sameness. Building understanding within the family helps reduce resentment and fosters teamwork. As children grow, teaching them to use self-talk can be powerful. Encouraging them to repeat directions aloud to themselves, like shoes, backpack, door, helps anchor the sequence in their mind. Over time, they may internalize this habit and rely less on external prompts. Another effective tool is gamification. Turning tasks into games or challenges can transform the experience. For example, set a timer and say, "Can you beat the clock by getting your shoes and backpack ready before the buzzer?" This taps into the ADHD brain's need for stimulation and makes the task engaging instead of tedious. Parents should also recognize that progress is gradual. Some days the child will manage the steps smoothly, other days they may forget everything. Consistency, patience, and flexibility are essential. It's about progress, not perfection. Professionals like occupational therapists and ADHD coaches can provide tailored strategies too. They can help families build personalized systems that match the child's strengths and challenges. Schools can also play a role by offering accommodations like task cards, visual instructions, or extra time. In the long run, the goal is to help the child build independence, but independence comes step by step. At first, they need significant support, but over time, with practice and routines, they can manage more on their own. What looks like small progress today may be the foundation for bigger successes tomorrow. At its core, this challenge is not about stubbornness or lack of effort. It's about the way the ADHD brain processes information. By understanding this, parents and teachers can shift from frustration to compassion. Instead of thinking, "Why can't they just remember?" the mindset becomes, "How can I support them in remembering?" This change in perspective transforms the dynamic from conflict to collaboration. Supporting kids with ADHD in following directions requires patience, creativity, and a willingness to adapt. It's not a quick fix, but a gradual building of skills and systems that empower the child. Each successful step, no matter how small, reinforces their ability and confidence. And for the child, knowing that the adults in their life believe in them and are willing to meet them where they are makes all the difference. By breaking instructions into clear steps, using visual and external supports, and building predictable routines, families and teachers can make daily life smoother and more positive. When these strategies are applied consistently, what once felt like a daily battle becomes manageable. The home environment becomes calmer, the child feels more capable, and relationships improve. In the end, helping a child with ADHD follow directions isn't just about completing tasks. It's about building trust, reducing shame, and giving them the tools they need to navigate a world that often feels overwhelming. And that shift, from frustration to empowerment, can truly change the trajectory of a child's life.